Gerardo is an executive recruitment. He has an executive recruitment firm with a presence in Monterrey, Mexico City, Houston, and Barranquilla, Colombia. Internationally, as representatives for the Future Manager Alliance, FMA, Gerardo offers human resources solutions worldwide. Gerardo is also a host on LinkedIn Live and Instagram Live, where every week he interviews opinion leaders, CEOs, and HR directors. Counselor of different NGOs and companies in Latin America and the US, Gerardo holds a Bachelor of Fine Arts with honors from the College of Creative Studies in Detroit, Michigan. Thank you, Gerardo, for being here. I'll turn the audience to you. Thank you.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much for inviting me, and especially to Cecilia Zaragoza and Astrid Manjarres from Business 4.0. Let me just share my screen with the presentation. I don't know if you would like to take a few minutes for a break, or is everyone okay to continue? We're fine?
Yes, I think we are fine. Thank you, Gerardo.
Good. Excellent. So, well, today I'm going to talk about human skills for true leaders. Thank you so much. This is the content of my presentation. First, we're going to talk about context. What do we need to thrive? What type of leader you want to be, and some reflections about the skills I consider the most relevant in these days. So, talking about context, right now I believe, live with a more short-term mindset because of COVID. But in reality, there are more pressing issues that we have in our world, like a looming recession in many countries, and of course, climate change. Which takes me to purpose. Purpose is something I've been talking about a lot in the recent months, because many executives call me and send me messages, sometimes because they don't know what's next for them, what's next for their company, and basically what's their mission in life. So I've been developing a lot of topics around purpose, about knowing yourself, and also identifying your skills in general. Here, of course, I have a few notes. But in my opinion, purpose has a business goal always, but at the same time, you also have to consider what's going on globally. Like I said before, climate change, economic impact in your own community, in your country. So at the end, it's something that has to make you transcend in some way. Which takes me to people. At the end, people must be the center of any company, any team. It doesn't matter if it's a small business or a multinational corporation. You always have to keep in mind people, which are basically the fuel for your sales, your company, your success, and your purpose as a company or as a leader has always to align with the people that you empower or the other leaders that you are preparing within your same team or company. By the way, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to write them down on the chat, and our moderators will see the time fit to comment them to me. But feel free, this is a conversation. This is not only me just talking and talking, okay? Now, talking about people, comes to mind, what do we need to thrive? You know, we always have needs as individuals, as humans, that connect to our personal lives, but also to our professional development, of course. I truly believe that wellness overall makes people thrive, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this. When you have a fulfilling job, you feel happy, and that well, it's a reflection of who you truly are, and if you are succeeding at your job or at your company, and that applies, of course, to any leader of an organization. Now, according to a recent article that I read a few weeks ago by Dr. Ryan Nimick at the VI Institute on Character in Ohio, there are several personal factors or enablers of thriving for any person. Right now, I'm going to focus on the ones that I think resonate more with this presentation. You can see them here. What do they mean by hope? In these challenging times, we always need to have a positive perspective. Actually, we're going to wait for the poll in a few minutes. If you just let me explain the topics. Thank you. We're going to relaunch it in a few minutes. Thank you so much. So talking about hope, this means that we always have to have a positive perspective. Doesn't matter how challenging times may be. I mean, of course, right now, businesses are struggling. We may have health issues within our team, our family. We may have lost loved ones too. But we'll always, I mean, as hard as it sounds, we always have to find a positive perspective to see things, to analyze everything from the outside. Number two, I mean, it doesn't matter if you have a religion or you do not believe in a higher being or a higher power, but it's always important, I think, and according to the study, that you have faith in something or in someone that can help you also thrive and be better within your purpose. Number three is perseverance. You always have to try to acknowledge your fears. Actually, today I made a publication on LinkedIn about fears and going for it. First of all, you have to know yourself, acknowledge your fears, and persevere in whatever you're trying to do, and have short-term goals in order to be successful in your business, and at the same time thrive within your community. Number four is motivation, which relates directly, I wrote down your motivation to grow, to learn, which we're going to talk a little bit more in a few minutes. But you have to make sure to always maintain yourself motivated. Again, that this is related to number 2, spirituality, because you have to believe in something in order to get out of bed every day and seize the day, basically. And number 5 is resilience, which we've heard so much this last year. But I agree that it relates closely to mental health and having psychological resilience, which is a more specific term, I think, to resilience. So now we're going to relaunch the poll for all of you to vote, please. So what do you think? I mean, what do we need to thrive? Which one is the most important to you or to your organization? Maybe is hope in something, in your mission, being religious or spiritual, perseverance, having motivation, or being resilient. So please go ahead and vote, just to have a better sense of our audience and what we can achieve with this presentation. I'll just give another minute and we'll continue with the presentation, just to be respectful of everyone's time. Thank you. Okay, just a few seconds. Very good. So interesting results. Let's see, most of you voted for perseverance and motivation, which, yeah, I think it's quite interesting. In my opinion, resilience is also an important fact to thrive as a person and in your job. But thank you so much for voting. This gives me a better sense of who you are and how you think related to business. Let's continue. So, talking more about business, yeah, and also keeping in mind the pursuit of an harmonious environment with your team, with what you do, or if you're trying to achieve to have a better company or organization. Let's talk first about leadership a little bit. I truly believe that leaders are people that serve others. It's not a fact of just you know, leading with giving orders, as you know, or making a business plan, but it always has to come from the side of service. And you always have to be prepared to hire better people than you and help them become leaders in their function, in their industry, because maybe sometime, you know, in the near future, they're going to be the next CEO or the next CFO, and you're going to have to retire. So I always see leadership as from that standpoint, you know, from service and developing people. In order to do that, we always have to continue learning, developing ourselves, which actually, I'm also going to talk a little bit about relearning skills later on in the presentation. Of course, we also need tools, like I mentioned, to develop ourselves and our team, and to acquire what we most of us know as hard skills. Hard skills are basically teachable abilities, such as writing, reading, math, using particular software. So these are abilities that I believe anyone can learn. And I guess depending on the industry or the function by itself, I don't see a lot of sometimes merit in having hard skills, especially today, which is the point of this presentation, which takes us to soft skills. Soft skills, or as I'll be calling them today, human skills, and you'll see why in a few minutes. These are the traits that we're talking about, you know, having the ability to listen, to communicate, to develop emotional intelligence, to have empathy, and so on. The soft skills that are required today, I've chosen 3, and I'll talk in detail about them in the next slides. And as I mentioned, I don't call them anymore soft skills because I read this from Simon Sinek, that maybe you are familiar with. He's not only a spokesperson for millennials, but I think he has very insightful ideas, especially about skills. And I agree. I mean, soft skills are not soft. They are human skills, and they are hard to learn, to develop, and to practice every day. Personally, I try to practice patience every day with my colleagues, with my clients, and it's something that you have to practice all the time, and also be open to relearn and learn in a different way. Now, I'm a very, I would say, strong Star Wars fan, and this, I think, resonates with our presentation. In order to be better leaders and true to ourselves, we must sometimes unlearn what we have learned in our culture, in our studies, in our homes. Unlearning is not an easy task, and at the end, you cannot start from zero or from scratch. You have to take advantage of what you already know, your upbringing, your culture, and find new ways of thinking, of doing things. I have been reading a lot about relearning, and it's just basically letting go of some habits to spark positive thinking and ignite changes within what you do and your organization. Now, here I'm going to talk a little bit more about the human skills that I've chosen. And at the end, these are the most important to me as a headhunter, you know, talking every day with candidates and helping them find their purpose. Now, adaptability. This is, for me, one of the most important traits today, because you have to be able to be open to a new environment. Maybe your company is not thriving as it used to be. So you have to maybe learn new ways of selling, of collaborating with other companies, maybe even having new partners for your business. So you need to have this again, openness to well, basically adapt to your new environment, and even modify your service, your product, to appeal to your new market. So this is what I'm trying to say with adaptability. I wrote down, your best bet is to be flexible enough to analyze your new circumstances, which takes us again to being flexible and resilient, actually. Now, this is the second human skill that I think it's super important today. We've become experts in getting distracted, which I have, I think, yeah, I included a writing from this guru in the US about having focus and just forget about multitasking, which I believe doesn't work for many of us. So we become experts at practicing distraction because our own society obligates us to be always checking our phones, and right now I know it's difficult, you know, working from home and doing homeschooling and all that, but focus is something you have also to practice and foster every day, just trying to be present in everything that you do. This is what I was talking about. I love this quote. Dan Dapani is a mentor for many businesses in the US. He used to be a monk, and he now lives in New York, and he advises many CEOs and sports teams and so on. So I totally agree that right now we are obsessed with multitasking and doing everything and being efficient, but our own human nature obligates us to rather focus on just one thing at a time. Actually, this is a book that I recommend a lot. I just read it, and it's also related to having focus. The writer, I'm sorry, Nir Eyal, mentions that instant gratification has become the norm for many. So you have to foster awareness in every activity. I believe that the key here is to practice first awareness of your surroundings, of what you're doing right now, and practice concentration every day. Is just like talking with a family member, to your wife or to your daughter or your son. You know, you just have to be present and practice focus on one thing at a time. This I thought was also interesting. just to relate to focus. And I think you can find very useful the book I recommended. Now the third one and the last one is empathy. Maybe you are quite aware of this, but first of all, you have to know yourself and have empathy with yourself. Basically, this means having acceptance. And in that way, I mean, when you are at ease with yourself and you are content and your work satisfies your purpose, your mission, then you can become aware of other people's needs and mission in life. So I think this is a very important human skill for any leader that wants to have real engagement with the team, with the clients, and even sometimes, you know, with everyday suppliers or whatever that comes to the company in terms of business. So empathy, it's all about being okay with yourself, having acceptance, and then giving out a way to others, which I think is one of the most important skills right now. And of course, having empathy with our planet. This is linked to being sustainable and having a true social impact with what's going on right now with global change, which is actually very real. And I think we also need to have that empathy with what's going on all over the world in terms of nature, but it also gives us a better vision of a global economy, global health, and at the end, it helps us grow with being part of a global community. Now, just to finish up, a few reflections. I love this quote also from Einstein. In order to have better results, you have to do things differently. So just keep that in mind, to reinvent yourself, to relearn, and be open to learn new things. Always keep people at the center of your mission, of your organization, of your purpose. Be authentic. Always do what you say, and yeah, don't go around norms or established rules within your own company. Again, these are the 3 human skills that I selected: adaptability, focus, and empathy, which help you to build trust within your team. Always develop other leaders. Let them do their thing, and be the best at your industry and their function. And muchas gracias. I'm open to questions or comments. Always glad to talk about purpose and human skills.
Thank you so much, Gerardo, for your insightful and powerful presentation. I do have some questions from the audience that I will now read to you. I have the first one. How can I build my purpose?
How can you build your purpose? Well, first of all, know yourself you have to be open to maybe meditate or pray or whatever you like to do to really know yourself and analyze what are your main skills that you were born with and the ones you can develop, and where do you want to be. I mean, this is in short, but basically you just have to have a goal in life and say, and maybe you decide I want to be the best CFO within the automotive industry. That's part of your purpose. So that's a good start. And of course, you have to be able to accept that you're going to have to study and develop any new skill that you may need to fulfill that purpose or your mission in life.
Okay, thank you. And the second question, I think, is related to the first one. It says, can I have only one purpose in life?
That's something I've been talking a lot about with colleagues. Actually, I have a podcast on Saturdays and we talk about purpose. And recently, maybe, I mean, I still think we have one mission in life with with other small missions, attached to it. But maybe you can see it from a standpoint of having a personal purpose and a professional purpose, and then a specific purpose for your company. So yeah, I mean, I think it may be possible. I'm still thinking, just trying to define if that's actually true or if there's only one purpose.
Okay, thank you so much, Gerardo. I have another question here. Are companies focusing more on soft human skills?
Well, today I think many companies are more aware of human skills. I'm almost 43 years old, so I grew up in many company cultures that were only based on hard skills and achieving goals. But right now, because of the pandemic, I think many companies are more open to at least hear about soft or human skills, and also, actually participate in terms of mental health and wellness. So yeah, I think it's changing, especially in more advanced countries in Europe, some regions in the US, Canada, of course. Latin America, I still think we have a long way to go.
Thank you, Gerardo. Rosemary is sharing with us. She says, I was once asked during an interview what I value most in an organization to which I answered its employees. My employer responded it was sales. Needless to say, I did not get the job.
Oh, yes. Well, yeah, unfortunately, many leaders still think that way, but I agree. The most important part of any company is their employees, their people. And I can't remember right now, but I read several times this quote that says, if you treat your employees right, they'll treat your customers better. So the company at the end will thrive. Of course, if you have happy people, and they feel empowered and they feel they're fulfilling their mission, everything's going to be okay and you're going to sell more. And so, yeah, thank you so much, Rosemary.
Thank you. And the last question I have here is, do companies in Latin America foster skills over age or gender?
Not at the point that I would like to. I also talk a lot about exclusion, inclusion, and I mean, these important, terms that also companies have to be aware of. But many companies still in Latin America focus on age, gender, instead of talent. And what I always say, talento es talento, talent is talent. So I'm always trying to be open about this and also help, for example, candidates that maybe think they're not in the game because of their age, but I always consider them for any process and for any client. So I think in that way we can help change, the perspective.
That's very good to know. Yes, thank you so much, Gerardo. And I think that's it. Thank you again for being here and show us all the skills we need to be true leaders. On the screen, we are going to present you your diploma as a recognition for attending our event, which will be sent via email to you at the end of the day. Thank you so much again.
Oh, thank you so much. And, I really enjoyed this forum. And thanks again to everyone, to all the organizers and the audience.